I used to view everyone who was a competitor to me, everyone pretty much outside of my direct friends and my direct business, I viewed as an enemy. I didn't think that there was enough room in the world for everyone to win. And that if I wasn't winning, that I was losing. And if someone else was winning, I was losing. And if someone else was winning more than my wins, I was still losing. And I started to view everyone as a competitor. I started to view a lot of people as enemies just because they were doing better than me. They were maybe in my same space. Maybe they weren't in my same space. And it was a really immature and horrible place to be operating from. And I eventually realized that these people were only enemies to me because I was making them my enemies. If you view someone as your enemy, they will become your enemy. If you view someone as an unhealthy competitor, they will be an unhealthy competitor. The reality is there's room in this world for everyone to win. And just because someone is winning in your same space, an adjacent space, or a completely different space doesn't mean that you are losing by any means. There is room for everyone to have some wins here. And I was listening to this podcast. It was one of the Founders episodes with David Senra. And he was talking about this dinner that he had with John Mackey. And John Mackey is the founder of Whole Foods. Whole Foods is based out of here in Austin, Texas. It's where they started, and their HQ is still here in Austin. And John Mackey talked about this story of creating secret allies. And when he first got started with his natural grocery store, Whole Foods, it was just one store. Just one store in this 3-story house in Austin, Texas. And when you just have one store and you're buying food from a wholesaler, a distributor, if you're not buying these massive volumes, you don't get great pricing. The more volume you purchase, the better pricing you get. So if you have 10 stores, you get better pricing. If you have 100 stores, you get even better pricing. If you have 1,000 stores, you might get the best pricing possible. So it's priced by volume. When you have one store, you're not getting really good discounted pricing. And John recognizes early on, and he had all these competitors in the space, all these other people who had grocery stores and natural grocery stores. So what he ended up doing is actually turning these competitors or turning these enemies into allies. And he created this secret alliance where he went to all these other natural grocery store chains that were small, and they created a group so they could all go in together to buy food from these wholesalers and distributors. And because they were buying in greater volume together, they were getting better discounted pricing. And he realized in that exercise, through that experiment, that everyone can win. And just because your competitor is winning doesn't mean that you are necessarily losing. My whole message behind that story is that part of me building my legacy and the way that I think about it is I want to teach my kids, I want to teach people how to live a life that I believe is filled with integrity and character and transparency and being empathetic and kind, but also really ambitious and very hardworking. And I don't want my kids to make the same mistake that I made. I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made where I viewed everyone as an enemy. And because I viewed them as an enemy, they actually became an enemy. From both sides, we were enemies from each opposing side. But if you don't view everyone as an enemy and you actually view them as an ally and you approach it with healthy competition and kindness and warmth, but also still ambition and a hardworking mentality, they don't necessarily have to be an enemy. And we don't need all these enemies in the world. We really don't. And if you want to make everyone an enemy and view everyone that way, we'll just know that that's the legacy you're creating. That's part of your character. That's part of your identity. That's what you're teaching to the generations that come after you. And does that help them, or does that actually hurt them? So those are some of the things that I've been thinking about recently in regards to legacy building, especially in the 2 weeks that my son, Nico Austin Bear, has been born, which has been a crazy 2 weeks. And I'm really excited for the future of my family, watching my kids grow, cry over some more Cody Johnson music videos with them, and really teaching them how to choose the hard right over the easy wrong and build a legacy that they're proud of.